Hi everyone, welcome to our YouTube live today. For some reason, I cannot see my own video. So I'm just looking at the dark here and basing it on our audience to give me feedback that you can see my video and the audio. So I assume you can hear me now and you can see me now, correct? Okay, perfect. So we're gonna jump in. Obviously, we're covering the SUV changes quickly, more tightening of Canadian immigration, skilled worker programs, and whether Ontario launches entrepreneur program and BCPNP becoming more difficult. And of course, any federal changes. We'll cover those today before we jump in to our questions and answers. We'll cover this and more in our YouTube live, obviously unedited. And of course, we'll be in Vancouver this week and Dubai the week after, and new locations to be announced on our global tour for June and July 2024. If you are a B2B partner, potential applicant, reach out to us. Would be great to connect. Quick introduction. I'm Reza from England, Canada, licensed immigration practitioner, and we're posting this video to share our knowledge and experience with everyone. Yeah, we'll just do a very quick one today because, to be honest with you, this video thing caught me off guard. Latest news everyone's heard, the international students being able to work off campus more than 20 hours is not being extended. So that finished last month. Nova Scotia PMP is not taking in any accommodation and food services occupations for nominations, which basically means you have to go through AIP. So if your employer is not doing it, you have to push them to be designated as an employer to do the Atlantic Immigration Program. Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program is taking 9 months now, so they've asked applicants with work permits who are in the queue to allow them to extend their work permits with IRCC and, of course, to be prioritized because some of the work permit holders, their work permits are expiring. Saskatchewan PMP, there's been an update on the processing times, which we won't go into. 6 in Prince Edward Island. There has been protests, as everyone knows, because they have been prioritizing specific sectors and cutting down the number of nominations. This has led to many skilled workers not having a chance on the island while they've been working there to be able to get their PRs. This has created some bad publicity for the island. BCPNP will change their system, as everyone knows, as of January and increase their eligibility criteria, changing everything, their graduate stream, their skilled immigration stream. And of course, startup visa. If you've been following our YouTube channel or even Fox News, it doesn't matter who you've been following, you will know that there's been changes. Letters of support are now capped. Each organization can only sponsor 10 startups per year, ending December 31st, no matter when it started. You can watch our video update, which I'll post. And of course, priority processing for specific PR applicants who are endorsed by VC, angel investors, or incubators that are prioritized, or incubators who have committed capital to the startup, even if they are not a prioritized incubator. So designated organizations will be getting on an information session call with NACO, the regulatory body, which is for angel investors and incubators, and reps from IRCC today, actually. And they'll have all their questions and doubts clarified. So if you have questions, make sure you let your designated organization know so they can ask the government and regulatory body today in that information session, which is not public, just for the designated organizations. Just to keep you going, there's one angel investor who delisted themselves from NACO and is no longer an SV designated organization. Another incubator in Ottawa delisted themselves. They're not part of that. So, and we know at least of 3 designated organizations, incubators, who have already used up all their credits for the endorsement of 10 groups for 2024, or have shut down their program temporarily until further notice, while they stay designated for the SUV program. This means only one thing: more pressure and competition in the market to find spots or to secure spots for startup groups, and higher prices. Prices are now anywhere from 3 to 5 times higher, and no startup group, I mean, either you have $2 million of revenues, or you have an amazing startup with customers' revenues, or you have to pay a significantly higher price, which means many people won't be able to afford it. Stay tuned for more videos and updates as the market shifts and changes over the coming weeks, and the Canadian Startup Visa program. And of course, if you need any assistance and if you're looking for alternatives to our SUV program, we're here to help. And of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for regular updates. We won't go through our regular spiel today, so I'll just go through all the questions on our startup on our YouTube channel, and we'll just answer everyone's questions before we sign off. Abdul Rahman Salud says, hi Reza. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum assalam, Mr. Abdul. Fatima Azawai, hi Reza, welcome back. Hello Fatima, nice to see everyone, although my video is not working from my end, but it's working for your end. Finally Sosa, hi, long time. Hey, finally Sosa. My Code Vlog, hello back. Asim Khavja, yes, yeah, everyone's confirming, so thanks Safa as well for confirming the video audio. We have some questions. AMKH says, does IRCC always request updated settlement funds for PR under SUV, even for those with specific work permits supporting themselves and their families in Canada? Yes, they do request updated as settlement funds. Yeah, for 99% of the cases that we've come across, which is a lot of cases. Let's see. MK says, following the recent IRCC announcement regarding SUV, what is the anticipated processing time for PR applications submitted around mid-2022 through regular incubators, not via priority? By now, you should have had your permanent file number, AMKH, or an IRCC request letter to update regarding your personal and business regarding your startup application. If not, you could be pushed back even further. So either you had an officer look at your file and you were already on a process, or you were not. If you were not, then you could be pushed back now with the new processing. AMK says, is it advisable to proactively send IRCC updated business progress every 6 months? Yes. If they request updates from you now, just answer the questions. But if nothing yet, send them an update every 6 months. My Code Vlog says, changes are more specific to each province. No. The SUV changes are federal, just so you know. Safa Salah says, Reza, I received a procedural fairness letter as an essential applicant under the SUV 2 weeks ago. Oof. Not good news, Safa. RCC inquired about the work progress, how I came to know my consultant, and how I will support myself financially during the business. How I came to know my consultant. I'd love to see this procedural fairness letter. I mean, what does your consultant, how you met them, have anything to do? This sounds like the officer is on a rampage. They gave me only 7 days. You can actually extend it. You can request an extension because you were requesting legal counsel. So you can ask for an extension, which I did with a very comprehensive 150-page report. Wow. I have 2 questions. What do you think about receiving a PFL in an SUV case given it isn't related to misrepresent? Is it a positive or negative indication? Well, what is the estimated time for IRCC to make a decision on this? Could you also share more about your explanation with PFLs under this SUV program? So Safa, PFLs are not good, procedural fairness. That means the officer has decided that they want to refuse you. And they're giving you a chance according to the legal framework of Canadian immigration to defend yourself, an opportunity to address their concerns before they issue the refusal letter. Would you be able to send me that procedural form? Because how they ask you how you got connected with your consultant and how you will support yourself financially during the business. Yeah, I mean, hopefully you have overcome their concerns, but if not, they can issue a refusal letter. Do email me if you can. I'd love to see the officer ID number of this procedural form and that question, because that sounds bogus. Why would they? What within the legal framework? There's absolutely no reasoning of why they should care how you got connected to your consultant. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. So Safa, please send that to me. You've already responded, but please keep in mind 7 days is not enough. Most people, they can request up to 60 to 90 days extension. That is allowed. And procedural fairness are not good. That means they're deciding that they have concerns that they want to refuse you on those points, and you have to defend yourself. So this is that's not good, Safa. So yeah. So that's not very good news. Lovely fishing rod, the name of the person asks this. Do you think IRCC will open their self-employed program again? Yes, they may, in probably a year or two, when they've processed the backlog. There's a 4-year backlog in that program. So, don't hold your breath. Let's just put it that way. And if they reopen it, I think they have to make changes. It's ridiculous. It's like the worst Canadian immigration program, where I can officially say it is the worst immigration program on the globe for humanity, was the self-employed program, because it was so vague, so slow, and high refusal rates. Like literally everyone was eligible. Fatima Azavia, dear Reza, my background check is in process for spousal PR application since December of 2023. If I apply for a mandamus, will they be able to finalize the BC for me, or they say it's third-party issue? No. I mean, if it's a background security check, they can. It doesn't matter if you issue a mandamus. If 7 months has passed, then there is you can request it. There was a recent case that was 4 months ago in court, that the court sided with the applicant, who was waiting for over 3 years, and they were saying it's a security check. So the court didn't accept that excuse, but not for 6 months, 7 months, a year, but like extended periods. So what I would do is, in the next 3-4 months, if you don't hear anything back, Fatima, so let's say by September, you can give them a deadline to respond. Otherwise, you will, take it to court and request mandamus. So that's how you can kind of handle it. Right now, I think it's too early for you to do anything. 22 months overall. So Fatima, it depends on when the last correspondence was that they've sent you. If they even sent you a letter 6 months ago, then you can't do much right now. AMK says, my question is about the processing time for PR and SUV, not VAP priority. If someone received permanent file number in March 2023 and applied in mid-2022. Oh, if you've received a permanent file number, you're under process. So you'll get a decision this year. So you're okay. If you did not receive a permanent file number, that's what it would be a problem. Asim Khavaja said, what are the new SUV rates after 30th April changes? Every organization is different, Asim. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's just put it that way. AMK says, can the processing time reach 37 months for those who applied in 2022 through normal incubators, not by priority? If they have not received their PR, permanent file numbers, or any correspondence from IRCC based on their PR application, they could be pushed back if they're non-prioritized. So that means it could be closer to 28 to 35 months, maybe more. We don't know yet, but I know that they will be pushed back because as of today, they are just picking up new files for priorities. Abdul Rahman Salah says, me and my wife received our work visas, but applied visitor visa for our newborn, but still no update. It's only 2 weeks, Abdul Rahman, so you have to wait. Safa says, yes, sure, I will do. Let me know your email address, please. Safa, just send it to our general one, info@ingwe.ca, which are office checks. Just mention you discussed with me on YouTube. Send it over because I don't know what your consultant said, but those questions they asked you, at least one of them, is bogus. And I think you have to request the GCMS notes immediately, why they had those concerns, and 2, get ready in case they do a refusal for judicial review, because if the application was done correctly, if you did have good traction and intentions to run the business, and this officer, and I'll cross-check the officer ID number if it's one of the terminator stats, then you got to be ready for a fight. Abdul Rahman says, what are the ways to convert LMI closed work permit to open work permit? Any suggestions? Yeah, there's no easy way to convert to an open work permit, Abdul, unless you're from a specific nationality that allows open work permits, or some, your spouse goes and studies and then gets a postgraduate work permit, and then you become a dependent of hers afterwards. I mean, that could be one, but yeah, you got to be careful. It's not a little bit tricky. Lovely Fishing Rod, the name of the person asking, is there any options currently available for people who want to come to Canada as a self-employed worker? C10, C11, LMI exempt work permits for entrepreneurs and self-employed, but you do need significant funds to show significant benefit to Canada. So it's not like the regular self-employed stream for PR. Those are just work permits for business owners or investors and entrepreneurs. Ria Sharma says, my tracker shows everything is completed in the tracker and COPR number is also reflective with expired date 2 weeks ago, but didn't receive PR till now. Should I send web form? Wait for another 2 weeks, then yes, communicate, Ria. Mohammed Afaq Wadiwala, got our pre-arrival letter in March 23 on the SUV. How much time do you think it will take to get a passport request letter under priority processing? Well, it doesn't matter. So priority processing, Mohammed, doesn't affect the passport request letter. That's an embassy issue. Has nothing to do with prioritized PR processing. But you have a pre-arrival. Within 4 weeks, you will get a 4 weeks is over. Technically, you should have received your passport request letter already, but it could come at any time because it seems like it's overdue, right? So over the next month, I think you've got to get it, because I've had clients who got it in weeks. Tamsanka Dube, hi sir, where are express entry PR applications for FSW processed? It's all in Canada. Is it processed in Canada or at the country of residence? No, all in Canada. So PR applications, folks, are processed in Canada. Maybe the passport request letter and everything is issued through the embassies, but all PR applications are processed in Canada. I know self-employed are processed in Poland, but the final stage could be in Canada. I think that's the only, unique situation that I've heard of. Safa, what is the estimated time of IRCC to reply about PFL? It can be a month, it could be sooner, or it could be up to 3 months, right? But usually within 30 to 60 days, because they want to get this file done, Safa. They don't want it lingering around. Unless they're doing some investigative work behind the scenes that you and me don't know about, which I hope not, but usually quite quick. Tamasanka Dube, today you don't sound as happy as usual. No, just the video thing threw me off guard. And it's a little bit early in the morning on West Coast. That's the only reason. But yeah, good observation. Not as energetic. But the whole whenever I have technical problems, and it just kind of throws me off track, that I think that was it. Safa says, thanks, man. No problem. M. Jacob, hi, Reza. I hope you're doing great. Here we're still waiting for the golden mail. PAL received in Feb. When can we expect, please? And our DO's angel investor. Yeah, so at this point, they've already processed you, M. Jacob. So the priority processing is not significant anymore after pre-arrival. It's just you're under the PR processing. After the pre-arrival, as I said, last year I had cases from 3 to 8 months, but this year they're much faster. So you should be receiving it very soon, this summer, hopefully. And this is just an assumption based on previous cases we've handled. So don't worry, you'll get through. AMKH, could you please provide an estimate of the time needed to complete the background check for P under SUV? You can't estimate that, AMKH. I've had nationalities where it's taken over a year, some nationalities within a month or two. Yeah, it is all over the place. MJK, you seem a bit low energy today. We love energy today. We love to join this call. Keep smiling. Thanks, MJK. Yeah, no, today, as I said, there was a technical issue and that just kind of threw me off my usual energy, my boost, right? But yeah, and maybe it's also early in the morning here because I'm West Coast time. Yeah, but yeah, no, everything good, no bad news, all good news, except Safa's procedural fairness letter, which I must say surprised me on the questions they've asked. The second question, Safa, on the fact of how will you support yourself, that's pretty standard. But the one about how did you connect with your consultant, tell me this, Safa, did they call you for an interview or did they ask you any, it would be good to understand what other questions they've asked you previously, or if they ever called you to ask you how much you paid your consultant or your incubator or your designated organization. Because the letter and those questions seem way too unusual for me. So, yeah. But yeah, folks, those were the questions and comments. Thanks for everyone joining. But yeah, Hillary Ducour says, hi, Reza. SUV application was filed in February 2020. They asked for medicals and updated personal information on November 2023. Okay, that's perfect. And no word since then. When do you think they'll get back to us? So usually I've seen the max 8 months. So Hillary, I would say by June, July this year, you will hear back because they've already started the case. And it's very unlikely IRCC will stop the case and start the priority process. If they started a case, which they have as of November of this past year, you are being under process. So expect in the next 3 months that you will receive something, a pre-arrival, more request letters, who knows, but hopefully a positive decision for your file. Tamsankwa Dube, it's good to know you're okay. Please advise. On a previous USA visa refusal, is information such as the work history entered on that USA visa really available to the Canadian officer? Yeah. So just to let you know, when you go to the border and you tell the officer something and they ask you a question, you tell them something, that answer is even recorded. So if the IRCC or US immigrant wants to see anything, they see everything. And that's why it's called the 5 eyes. Adil Alvi, hi Reza, how are you? I asked some questions on LOS over email. Looking forward to your feedback. Oh, Adil, how are you? Yeah, I will respond. I've been on the road. It's been a little bit busy. I'm going to be catching up over the next week. So thank you for your patience. And yeah, good to see you, by the way. I mean, I can't see you. You see me, but good to see that you're online joining our live stream today. Mariam Khamis. Hello, Reza. I have done my biometrics in February 2024, I assume. So when am I expected to answer for my immigration? It's a spousal visa for Quebec, Montreal. Yeah, I mean, spousal is processed through the federal government. So, if you've done your biometrics, it's tough to say, Mariam. It's really tough to say because sometimes it goes towards interviews. Sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the country. Is it inside Canada? Are you inside Canada, or was it processed from outside of Canada? That also makes a difference. Safa, they said they didn't ask for an interview. Okay, Safa. So, but it's very unusual, Safa, for the procedural fairness letter under SUV. So if you've just joined us, one of our colleagues has been, because the language is easy to answer. Okay, Safa is very positive on the PFL, procedural fairness letter. It's good and bad, Safa. If it's easy to respond to and you really address their concerns, then yes. But PFL is just one stage before refusal. So it's the question, that first question, I'm still wondering why they're asking you that, Safa. But is there anything in the previous correspondences with this officer that made you understand why they asked that question in the procedural fairness letter about how you got to know your consultant? I was sending you can see it. Yeah, for sure. Because what I'm thinking is that they may believe that the startup visa concept you have, the business, was not your idea, and maybe it was given by your consultant. The consultant may be red flagged. There's a lot of things that could have been going on. We don't know. Let me look at the officer ID number, because I do have a database of officer ID numbers and their questions. So I can check if it's one of the terminators that we usually deal with, or it's one of the minions. Okay. Yeah, I definitely need a boost, folks. Maybe some coffee, maybe some green tea, maybe some goji berries. Who knows, right? But in terms of Angel, hey, Reza, I hope you're doing great. Hey, Angel, how are you? Nice to see you. I mean, I don't see you, but nice to see that you're online and joining our live discussion. We're talking about procedural fairness letters. We're talking about spousal PR process, priority processing now. But again, folks, if your application has already started being processed, like you have a permanent file number, there's a human being processing it for SUV, it will not be affected by the new priority processing instructions issued by the minister. Okay, if you do not have a PR file number yet, the permanent file number, somebody has not started your application yet, you will be affected by the priority process. Either it will help you or it will push you to the back of the line again. Safa says, Aziz says, PNP versus express entry job offer letter employment show that meanings can explain something. Provincial nominee program versus express entry job offer. Letter of employment shows that the meanings can explain something. Yeah, hi, my question. Yeah, I didn't understand the question, Aziz. Maybe you can rephrase it so I can, see if I have any insight into that. So somebody's asking, Reza, regarding the rural Alberta, do it directly give the PR? Yeah, the rural renewal skilled worker program based on the offer of employment will give you a direct PR, not the rural entrepreneur program. Okay, the rural entrepreneur program requires you to go in with a work permit for 1 year, run the business, then be nominated for PR and wait there and run the business while your PR is under process. So that's different. Abdul Rahman Salat says, after landing in Canada on closed work permit, and how many times I get eligible for provincial health card? It depends on the province, Abdul. Every province has their own rules. So there are some provinces it takes longer. You do need pay slips, employment reference letters in Ontario to go ASAP, but each province is different. Atlantic, much more relaxed. Right now, I'm seeing Ontario as probably one of the worst. Hi, Reza. Angel says, Reza, the 10 applications per incubator per year is from the announcement or from Jan? It's from April. So as of April 20th to December 31st. And then next year just starts from January, Angel. So this year it's kind of like they have the 10 credits for half the year, basically. And I don't know if you joined us at the beginning, but I know there's 2 designated organizations that were delisted. They delisted themselves. There was one that shut down their SUV program until further notice. And I know of 2 designated organizations that have run out of credits already. And just to give you insight, everyone, there was one designated organization that issued approximately 870 letters of support last year. which means that there was an unlimited supply of letters of support. And now with the cap, how do you think that will affect the market? Just use your common sense. Abdul, yeah, Ontario. So when you come in, immediately get the reference letter. I think they have you need reference letters, you need employment pay stubs, but you can probably go get it quite quickly, Abdul. I know a lot of our clients have gone get it. Sometimes they're a bit problematic and sometimes no. As long as you have proof of employment, you can go apply. And the regulations are on the website. Let me see if I can share it with you ASAP. It's called OHIP. It's called OHIP. I'll show you. Yeah. So it says to be eligible, you must have been granted the must also. Okay, hold on. Yeah. It's funny, my clients have been going through this program. So yeah, so within 153 days, so I'll show you. I'm going to post the link, Abdul. Within 153 days, I believe you can go at that time to apply with proof of employment. Angel says, I feel so lucky to get out of all this just in time. It's an utter mess. Yes, Angel, you're right. It is. Mariam says, yeah, I have done it in February this year. Well, the application is processed from inside Canada and the biometrics are in Dubai. Okay. When did you apply, Mariam, for the actual spousal PR application from inside Canada? When was the date of submission? When did you receive the acknowledgement from IRCC? No problem, Abdul. What are the things that can make the counselor refuse my study visa? Does it depend on the age? Yeah, it can depend on many things. Age gap for your education, the career progression. Does it make sense? If you have a master's or you're going for a diploma now, your travel history. Have you traveled to countries which require a visa like Europe, UK, Australia, New Zealand, US, Canada? Right? Just to give you some examples. And financials, who's paying for it? Do you have enough money? Does it make sense? And your ties to your home country, family, employment, assets. The Crown Empire. What is the rate of success of judicial review for study permit where the officer made material error on educational history not provided, which was provided in the IMM summer application form? I don't have that statistic. That's a good question, but that's a very specific question. I don't have that exact statistic. Angel, what's happening with the applications that received PAL since over a year now? There are a bunch of such guys. This is for SUV, right, Angel? Or we're talking about something else? Let me know and maybe I can answer that. Okay. Yeah, because these days we also have provincial attestation letters and all that stuff. Pre-arrival over a year. Wow. So it must mean they're stuck in some kind of security check, Angel. And this is which nationalities, Angel? Because I know Chinese have sometimes prolonged security checks. Mariam says last year, August, we filed the application. Mariam, by August this year, basically by June, between June to August this year, you're going to have your final decision and your PR potential, right? If they agree. So the decision. So in the next 3 months, you're good to go, Maya, like 90 days. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, you don't know. But it's pretty fast, especially inside Canada. if they don't have any doubts. If there's some doubts, obviously they can ask for an interview or whatnot, even inside Canada. I've had clients who were interviewed inside Canada, but they were a little bit, it was a bit of an unusual marriage, let's say, that I had represented. But Angel, let me know the nationality of the pre-arrival letter holders who've been waiting for over a year, because that I have not heard of particularly as much. And that could be like maybe the officer just dropped dead or retired or was fired, or well, they don't get fired. I would say that that's kind of unusual, Angel. I would say it would be good to communicate with IRCC on updating, on requesting an update, or doing a GCMS notes and communicating with the IRCC. Because if there's something stuck, and it can't be for everyone, right? Is it everyone in the group? Because then that doesn't make as much sense. If they're from specific nationalities, I could understand, but not everyone. General question, could you please share your thoughts about the processing time for PR and SUV in the near future, depending on the recent changes? I expect that priority processing will take 12 to 15 months for PR, and non-priority will be 24 to 30 months for non-prioritized PR processing. There will be no effect on work permit applications, whether you're an angel investor or endorsed group or incubator or prioritized incubator. Those will be based on the embassy and the nationality and other factors. But for the PR, that's a prediction that SUV will be 12 to 15 months versus the non-prioritized, which can be 24 to 30 months. But this is an assumption. And again, like all new regulations and policies, we have to see how it's properly implemented, because at the end of the day, it's IRCC. You never know how they'll implement it, if they actually do it correctly or not. AMK says, do you think the processing time could drop below 37 months, or will it be common trend? I think for the non-prioritized, they're in no rush to process them. They want to finish the backlog. So you could hit 30 months in certain cases, but the priority ones, I think they're going to be quite quick, maybe up to 15 months. Aziz says, PNP versus Express Entry LMI job offer letter shows employment have chances getting an ITA. Yeah, it depends on the points, Aziz. It doesn't matter if you have a job offer and you're getting points, or if you have just a lot of points based on your education and age and Canadian or non-Canadian work experience. That doesn't dictate the ITA. The ITA is based on a points threshold. So if you have enough points and you see the history, you have over 500 points, or if you're a French speaker and you have, over even 350, 370, those are the things that can get you an invitation to apply an Express Entry for PR. And if you don't know, folks, what Express Entry is, it is the fastest PR program that exists in the Canadian immigration system. M. Jacob says, with my knowledge, there are more than 5 groups stuck at the stage of PAL. Oh, wow. I would say hardcore, you have to communicate with IRCC on that. 1 year PAL sounds way too much. The max I had was 8-9 months. And that was last year. This year should be much faster. So M. Jacob, they do need to communicate with IRCC, request the GCMS notes, and do a web form or a link directly with the application communication portal. So they have to follow up. This is important. Reza, are the investment routes still active, and in which province is the high rate of success, and can I buy an existing business that can be considered as PMP investment? Yeah, they're still active except Ontario. Alberta Rural, BC Regional Pilot, which is also one of the lower invest, is still active. We do have businesses now access in Vernon, and that's thanks to my good friend Fahime. She will be providing a lot of businesses in that town in BC that will have access to the BC Regional program for entrepreneurs. And Nova Scotia has a good program. Prince Edward, Manitoba has the fastest program. Alberta Rural Entrepreneur Program is not bad. Ontario doesn't have a program. Saskatchewan is overpriced for what they offer. And those are my recommendations. New Brunswick is not bad too, but I still recommend Nova Scotia. But it depends if you have enough points. You'd have to reverse engineer and figure that out. If you need any help, folks, and you are eligible, we'd be happy to help. Safa says, Reza, I sent a PFL by email. Please check it now if possible. Okay, folks, this is a live look right here. Safa, I see. Okay. At the time you get a commitment from a designated organization, each time, at the time you receive permanent, get a letter of bring enough money to artificial transactions. Ooh. Please the document relating to the following. Print letters and how you came to new consultant. Holy moly. Artificial transactions, it means that they believe, Safa, everything is fake. You did it for the purpose of immigration. Development of the business, the proof relate. Ooh, this is quite extensive. How will you support the? Why do you have interest in the starter class? What have you come for starter now? Why is this been part of? Ooh, this is one of the terminators. Let me check his. There's no officer ID number, but I'm pretty sure. Safa, do me a favor. Do you have previous correspondences where the officer ID number is requested? Would be great to know. Okay. Okay, let me look at this, folks. Hold on, folks. Okay, so Safa, let me know. Hi, resident. So Safa, let me know if there is an officer ID number in the previous correspondences, because this is a hardcore letter. This is a hardcore, so don't take it lightly. Dang says hi. Hey, Dang. AMK says, do you have any idea about the backlog number of applications under SU? Is it more than 5,000 or even more? At some case, it was closer to 4,800 to 6,000 the last time I checked, but I don't know the new numbers. So I do not know the new number. Hello, Reza. Hope you're doing well. Adriana, hey, how are you? Martha Wahoo, hi, please suggest best PR pathway, 45 years old, pursuing postgraduate study in project management in Ontario, have a master's in development studies from back home, 10 years work experience. After graduation, Martha, you move out of Ontario or you go rural. That's the best recommendation I can give you. And then that will give you potential access to PR, unless you believe that you have eligibility and enough points for federal program for express entry, or you're a French speaker. If you're a French speaker, you have unlimited options and easy points to meet. But if you don't, and you're stuck in Ontario, in Toronto or Greater Toronto area, you are stuck for life. There's no chance. Well, there is a chance for PR. It's just you have to have the employer, you have to have the points under the Foreign Skilled Worker Program or the International Student Program under PNP. If you do have an employer, then you can stay in GTA and go through that route. If not, find an employer in GTA that is eligible for the program and you have enough points. Again, calculate your points first before you apply, or just go to another province that is more immigration friendly. Angel, shouldn't the incubators be equally responsible for any mismatch in profiles in the startup? After all, it's after their due diligence that one gets accepted. Why? That's a powerful question, Angel. So, folks, if you're just tuning in, Angel has asked a question about SUV. And this may be in line with Safa, who received a procedural fairness letter, and other such letters and queries by IRCC officers who scrutinize startup visa applicants. And so Angel is asking, shouldn't the incubators or designated organizers be equally responsible? Because they're the ones that were supposed to do the due diligence, matching the people to the business and making sure everything's correct. And that's, in theory, Angel, you're 100% correct. In theory, that's what the IRCC expected, right? But now,
okay, I found this on the web.
Sorry,
That's
that
from
was
IRC65.
okay. That was IRC. That was Siri. Sorry about that. Without permission, she started talking. So what happened is that was, in theory, how the SUV was supposed to work, the startup visa program. But IRCC realized that the designated organizations were just taking money and just issuing letters of support. So now there's a complete mistrust between IRCC and the designated organizations, because IRCC doesn't believe that the incubators or other entities have done their due diligence and they've been just selling letters of support. And in a lot of cases, that's true. Some cases, no. And therefore, this is a misalignment between the government and the designated organizations who are listed under the SUV program. Remember, the startup visa program designed by the government does not designate them, the regulatory bodies for venture capital and NACO for angel investors and incubators. The government cannot delist them. The government cannot list them as designated. They've given that power to the regulatory bodies, but now they're out of control. So in order to control that, they've created the cap, because they can't come and say, oh, we don't like these designated, they're issuing too many letters of support, they're ruining the integrity of the program, right? So they just came in and put one rule to control it. And yes, they expected the designated organizations like incubators and everyone to match the businesses and make sure they're good businesses, the applicants, everyone is capable to do their due diligence, but many haven't, many have, and IRCC now believes that nobody has done it. Therefore, they don't trust anything that the designated organization has done or said in terms of the startup visa. So now they're scrutinizing startup visa in many cases they don't scrutinize it as much, and they pick on the applicant and their legal rep, and they say, well, I don't believe you, or you prove to me that this is true and you're guilty till proven innocent. They don't say that, but that's what they imply. So in theory, Angel, that's the way it should have worked, but it went 180 degrees the other way. And this started sometime in around 2016-17. By 2020, IRCC picked this up. They realized this, and usually the government realizes something about 2.5 years later than when it actually happens. And this is why we're in this situation today. So the IRCC now cannot control it, so they've just set a cap for everyone, and they said, okay, you know what, good for everyone, now you can only bring 10 groups a year. And this is because of some bad apples in the designated organizations. And from the officer's point of view, they don't trust even one designated organization. None of them. They don't trust them. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed that little commentary. Abdul Rahman says, SUV required how much money in total? Abdul, that's a very wild question. That depends on your startup and the designated organization. So you could technically do it with just the IRCC fees and minimum settlement fund fees. In theory, I mean, besides the investment funds that you could get from somewhere else, and then get an incubator like a DMZ that takes equity. But the chances of that happening, and I know that, are very low. Angel, but unfortunately, only the applicants are punished. Yes, Angel. So designated organizations take the money, and they give you all those fluffy responses, all those happy responses that, yeah, don't worry, yes, oh, the government's doing this incorrectly. They just take the money, and after you get refused, they'll reply to you, but they don't care. They've moved on. It's kind of like a butcher shop, or like a, basically it's that's all they care about is the money. And there's so many applicants, or at least there was, that they don't care if you're refused. There's 100 more that want to come through. These days, obviously, they're capped, but you got to keep that in mind, Angel. This is the way it works. This is the way it's been working. Okay, so it's great, but you're just a number to them. Okay, unless you're going to a very high quality designated organization and you have a startup that has massive revenues, very successful, then they'll fight for you. But that's 1 in 10,000. Dang, what do you think of the reconsideration request? Dang, it depends on what you're talking about. Is this like a SUV reconsideration? If you have a procedural fairness letter, there is no reconsideration. That's your reconsideration opportunity because the office is ready to refuse. So if that's what you mean, Dang, that's what I mean. Safa, yeah, thanks for that. Adriana says, Reza, I'm interested in coming to Canada to study a postgraduate program. Can I choose a postgraduate diploma instead of a master and still have my spouse come on an SOWP? No, unfortunately, it's a master's or PhD due to the new regulations, Adriana. So I do apologize. CR1 says, hi, what about LMIs? LMI is still under process, CR1. Regulations are a bit strict. Processing times are a bit slow. Each province is different unless it's a PR-based LMI, which is kind of done on a centralized location. Folks, gotta go. If you just joined us now, we're going to do some startup visa updates over the next 2 weeks and some other immigration updates and the truth about what the SUV program is, alternatives to SUV. Hey, have you ever considered investing in a business that will endorse you like an owner-operator? Yeah, it's possible. And again, folks, sometimes it's just Canada may not be the option. Have you considered Portugal for your startup? Cheaper, faster, more secure. There's a lot of options out there. Have a great day. Angel, you too. Thanks, everyone. Adriana, finally Sosa, Dang, Abdurrahman, Safa Saleh will be in touch. Aziz, AMKH, and everyone, of course, who's joined us. Fatima as well, and Asim, Alim, My Code Vlog, everyone. And of course, who was saying a lovely fishing rod? Who was saying I'm not in a good mood? Rosita was there. There was somebody who was saying Ria Sharma. Tamsanka Dube. Yes. Didn't forget you. Martha Wahu says, thinking out loud, what are your thoughts on learning French at 45 years old so as to qualify for a Francophone pathway? Is the language time concern? I was actually in a consultation just a couple of days ago, and the person did have a base in French, and I said, that's the way to go. If you know a little bit of French and you think you can pick up very quickly, highly recommended, Martha. But if you don't know any French and maybe language skills like me are not your strength, then maybe moving to another province, unless you have immediate family in Ontario that you want to stay with. But again, if you have the employer and you get enough points with the OMP, it is still okay. But if you can quickly pick up that French, human capital stream, OMP express entry, or just general express, that is the way to go. And funny fact, folks, and if you just tuned in, you're tuning in at the wrong time, because we just had about 55 minutes of live, raw Canadian immigration. I'll give you this little tidbit of information. If you're a French speaker, okay, this is going to blow your mind, folks. This is going to blow your mind. If you're a French speaker, you have a higher chance and more options for Canadian PR if you're outside of Quebec than if you're inside of Quebec. And if anyone wants to challenge me on that, any day of the week. Dang says, thank you. I have complicated situation where I can reach you at. Just send Dang to info@ingway.ca. That's our office email address. And usually we don't answer questions on email, Dang, just so you know. You can book a consultation as well if you like to. I'll put a link there because obviously we dedicate this 1 hour a week to answer questions, Dang, right? The rest of the time we're working on client files, right? Because my clients would kill me. Tamsanka Dube, thanks, Reza. No problem. Jacob, thanks for your time. No problem. Thanks, everyone, for joining. And if you just joined us, well, tune back next Thursday, perhaps. You can catch us on our next live stream answering questions and giving you the insight on what the SUV is and why all this happened, what the history of SUV is, and where it could be going. My prediction is in the next 2.5 years, this program will be shut down or paused like the self-employed program. So you have 2.5 years from now to actually apply, folks. And Adil, good to see you as well. Martha says, thank you for your time. Your advice helps me come to Canada last year. Oh, I'm glad it helped. The next stage is PR, folks. And remember what I always say, do your research and plan before you apply. Do not apply for the sake of applying. Before we tune off, folks, give me a thumbs up if you like the live stream today. A little bit of a thumbs up, because I have a new clause in my employment contract with my employer. If I don't get, oh, somebody reversed their thumbs up. If I don't get 18 to 20 thumbs up for each live stream, yeah, the thumbs up, folks, on the bottom. There you go. There you go. The little finger under the video stream. Click it. If I don't get 18 to 20 thumbs up per live stream, they're gonna shut me down. Thank you, MJ. Thank you. Lababas. Sorry, I can't read that, but thank you for the thumbs up. Thanks. Oh, we got 11 thumbs up. Thanks, folks. Don't want to waste your time too much. Enjoy the rest of the week and your weekend. And remember, in the eyes of Canadian immigration and government, you're guilty until proven innocent. Don't believe everything else they say. Take care. See you next time. Hopefully, we can all help each other out and get that to our ultimate goal of Canadian BR. Take care, folks. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thanks, everyone. Bye.